In this video, you'll learn about the areas and settings that affect employee and equipment time. Click Settings. If your Sage Construction Management subscription includes time and expense users as separate from standard users, go to Company Settings, Users. You can optionally designate some users as time and expense users rather than standard users. Time and expense users can enter their own time cards, and they have limited access to the system other than this. They are assigned the field security role. Under Feature Settings, Time and Expenses, you have several options for processing time cards. Select Mark Imported Time Cards as Pending if you want time cards imported from a spreadsheet to always be set to pending status. We recommend that you select this option. Otherwise, time cards are imported as approved. When you enter labor, equipment, and field time cards, you can elect to show only project cost codes with labor or equipment hour budgets. This prevents users from entering hours for cost codes for which a corresponding budget is not available. Select Show Only Cost Codes with Labor Hour Budgets, or Show Only Cost Codes with Equipment Hour Budgets. The option Show Only Currently Owned Equipment when entering equipment time cards causes equipment items to be available on equipment and field time cards when the equipment item setup page has a non-blank purchase date. If you select this option, be sure to enter a purchase date on all equipment items you own. The first day of week setting defaults to Monday, but you can change it for the purpose of entering time cards starting on a different day. If you select Restrict Labor Time Card, Add Update by Payroll Weeks, you'll see an additional field for the number of weeks past that users can make modifications to labor time cards. If you leave the entry at 0, no restrictions apply. If you enter 1 or greater, users can make modifications only for time cards within that number of weeks. Regardless of these settings, users with the administrator role can always make modifications to time cards. The option Do you wish to establish field crews for time cards changes the options you see when entering field crew time cards. If you select No, you can still enter field time cards, but you'll only be able to enter crew time cards for your own employees, and you won't select the crew leader. You'll need to manually add employee and equipment resources to the crew time card each time you create one. If you select Yes, you'll need to set up crews before entering time cards. When you enter a time card, you'll select the crew leader for each crew, and you'll see a list of all employees and equipment that belong to the crew without having to search for them. The setting Do you wish to use Clock In, Clock Out for time cards enables the Clock In, Clock Out feature, both in the browser and in the mobile app. You'll need to select Yes in order for employees and crews to use this feature. If you select Yes, you see additional options. Track Breaks lets users start and stop break time while still clocked in for the day. They won't be paid for the time they're on break. Use Geofencing sets a virtual perimeter around the project address, so you can see whether the clock in and out locations were at an acceptable distance from the job site. If users clock in from a browser, the system uses the user's browser IP address. If they use the mobile app, it uses their device's GPS reading, which is more accurate than IP address. Geofencing does not prevent a user from clocking in or out while not at the job site. It simply lets you see when this happens. Users might legitimately clock in from a vendor or meeting location. You can select No for Do you wish to use Clock In, Clock Out for field crews if you want users to clock in and out only for their own time and not that of a crew. The departments list is available on the employee profile page and lets you group and filter employees in lists and reports. If you use a third-party payroll provider, that system might require a department. This field is also available on import and export templates. Payroll items must be set up on an employee before you can enter time cards for that employee. If you set up payroll burdens, you can automatically calculate the payroll burden to apply to each employee. This was explained in the video Setting Up Employees, Pay Items, Rates, and Burden. Any type you enter here can be added to the Employees Setup page. Under Workers' Compensation Codes, you can track the different types of work an employee performs, based on agency standards such as the National Council on Compensation Insurance, NCCI, in the United States, or the Canadian Centre for Occupational Health and Safety, CCOHS, in Canada. The help topic for Workers' Compensation Codes explains how to use these. When you enter miscellaneous expense lines, you can select the miscellaneous expense type, which allows you to summarize by type on reports. This option is not required. When you enter miscellaneous expense header information, you must select a payment type. If you've set up integration with an accounting system, the accounting link uses the payment type to identify the offsetting general ledger entry when recording the cost. For example, the offsetting entry for a corporate credit card transaction would be made to the credit card liability account in the general ledger. Typically, you'll set up miscellaneous expense payment types for each credit card your employees use, as well as any other payment types that apply to their own GL account. Under Feature Settings, Cost DB Equipment, the equipment type list is available on the Equipment Items Setup page. Equipment types let you report on different classes of equipment. The equipment service type appears when you enter equipment service tickets. You can do this from the Equipment Items Setup page by clicking Service Ticket History, Add Service. The locations for custom equipment and labor rates lists appear on the Equipment Items Setup page when you enter location-specific estimating rates. These location-specific rates are used only in estimates, not equipment time cards. You can apply a different base cost rate and burden cost rate for when the equipment item is used on projects in a specific geographical location. In this video, you learned about the areas in settings that affect employee and equipment time.